not in a position to match the others that are well-funded naira for naira. But above all, there is need for cross-sectorial collaboration. Many times, people are working in different cells and they don't maximize the positive values that working together they can bring into the political process. That collaboration should include youth groups and youth-led movements. So all in all, it's all about increasing education, increasing engagement, increasing outlets for collaboration, and increasing the capacity to mobilize a society by using ideas from themselves and also crowdfunding for very good candidates. These are some of the key points that we raised. We actually raised 22 points, but because we need to be brief, we shall stop at that. Thank you.
Is the representative of the group that deliberated on emerging a new political class and value-based public leadership. And we've got Victoria Onwubiko. Victoria?
Good evening, everyone. Okay, 5 minutes. So our group deliberated on emerging a new political class. And one thing that came out clearly was that there was just a whole lot of ideas on what could happen. It was a really animated discussion. So what we found out is that we didn't really have enough time to delve into this, and there's room for a whole lot more discussions. So I'm just going to take the highlights of what we said. So the first one is the issues that were raised is, what will be the ideology of this school that will train these emerging leaders? What will be the specific outcome that we're looking at? Is the curriculum going to be a neutral one, or will there be a leaning towards a specific line of thinking? So the general consensus here is that yes, there has to be a specific line of thinking, to make sure that we are propagating the specific ideas that we want. And more importantly, that how can we ensure that the whole process is not hijacked? Because a mention was made of ANC and APC, where the group started as one thing and they're ending up as another. So how do we along the line make sure that this ideology is not hijacked and we are just back to where we are? So there is further room, for discussion in that. Then the second area where we looked at was disruption. So there was actually the thinking that we needed to disrupt the courts, we needed to disrupt the regulator, we needed to disrupt political parties. How can we achieve this disruption so that a new leadership is emerging, out of that? Again, it was a lot of suggestions came in, which we are going to try and put together during the further discussions. But the general consensus is that we needed to have a way of getting into the young people now. So there was suggestion further to go down all the way to secondary schools to make sure that we get them young. Then the third issue was about partnerships. We cannot do this alone. So what kind of partnerships are we going to have to lean on in order to make sure that we achieve these new thinking in emerging leadership? And we talked about even using the churches. We talked about unions. We talked about getting into local governments. So another person mentioned diaspora Nigerians, Nigerians in diaspora, that's another way we can get through. So the three things that were coming out very clearly was the fact that there must be an ideology. Secondly, that it must be disruptive because we cannot continue to do things the way we are doing them. And that thirdly, that there needed to be, there's a need for the partnerships that we have to ride on in order to make sure that this works. So as I said, there's going to be a whole lot more discussion on coming up with specifics on how the school will run. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And finally, or as they say, finally, mobilizing for political and electoral reform. So please join me in welcoming Professor Remi Shonaya.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was a very good, fruitful discussion. We had, at least I noted, 34 points that were made. However, let's just summarize them this way. For political and electoral reform, we need a truly independent INEC. The chairman must not be appointed by the president so that INEC can function as truly independent. And it should be unbundled. The point was made that INEC should concentrate only on elections. All the registration and so on should be taken away. The voting system should be electronic and also for the transfer of results. So using technology more in our electoral system. There's the need for education at the grassroots, foot soldiers to be trained to go into the communities and educate people. Somebody talked in particular about the need in the rural areas for that kind of education. The point was made to create synergy among the civil society organizations and the various movements that we already have around the country. Sanctions will be important. Somebody advocated the death penalty for any electoral offense. Some others were not in agreement, but that there ought to be sanctions in any case, like visa bans, that we could approach embassies and say, you know, these people have been involved in electoral misconduct, kindly ban them from going to your countries. And above all, speedy prosecution for electoral offenses, not these ones that last for 10 years. Important actors that must be brought on board: the media, traditional rulers, leaders in churches and mosques, so that since they are very well connected to the people, we make sure that they are on board. We could read the Riot Act to the government. It was suggested that women in particular could do this a la Aba riots and say, look, if you do not include us, if you don't run a more inclusive government, then we are not going to cooperate. You know, that could be a strategy. Children and youth, you know, should be educated on citizenship, how to be a good citizen of the country. Infuse that into the curriculum right from the primary school. Then reorientation for the docile, that's the word that was used, the docile middle class, and cause that there would be a change. Candidates should be screened for their backgrounds and for their record of performance in their localities. What have they done such that they can come and participate in politics? And primarily, it was noted that also the constitution that we are operating itself is very vital. That is not a
good template for our political, how would I say, advancement. Because if the constitution itself is faulty, then there's no way that we can reach where we want to be. So that point was made that we should look at our constitution and do whatever needs to be done in terms of getting ourselves the kind of constitution that will lead to true political stability in the country. Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, and now we've come to that point where we can welcome back Dr. Oby Ezekwesili, the one who has brought us here together for a final word and closing remarks. I don't know where this woman gets her energy from. I was hoping I could beg her to sit down earlier, and she spoke for more than 30 minutes and still going. If this was someone else, they were begging them to stand up. But the Lord is your strength.
Thank you so much, Kayode. Please, a round of applause for Kayode Akintemi. And where is she? Where is Maureen? Where's Maureen? Ah, yes. Please, a round of applause for Kayode. And they've been effective conference directors, right? They've really tried today. And I will come to thank yous, but let me first focus on a couple of things that I have heard in the course of the various presentations, the audience participation, and this work group, the work sessions that just ended. The number one thing to say to you is that what I have done today is to present you the interim report of the research, and that there will be a final report of my research. And of course, it is going to take in some of the things that you've been saying on which there seems to be a need for more clarity. Some of it is already in that report, but it's in the final report that you get to see that, oh, this is actually addressed as a part of the idea of a structural change. For example, people have said, poverty, poverty, poverty. It locks people permanently in. That seems to be the prevalent thing that we've heard here, right? Please give me a feedback. It seems like we're thinking our 65%, because that's what it shows, some 65% of our electorate are the ones who are in the low and lower income, right? And guess what happens? When we do an analysis of those who represent your electorate, and you see that 65% of them are the low and lower income. And then all you're saying in this conference is that their poverty is making them make some rational decisions. That I am not going to see this politician again after the election. And so that momentary decision to extract some rent, it's a rent, because politics then becomes, a tradable. So they extract that rent from that politician at that time, and they simply say, at least I have something that I have grabbed. You can malign it, but when you think in terms of, is it a rational decision? Well, what's the counterfactual? The counterfactual is that they don't even get anything at all. Therefore, based on what Is that a rational decision? You know what it's based on? Their vote is not expensive. So in analytical thinking, we must make the vote of the low-income class expensive. Right now, it's not. And so in my research, I begin to look at a blended approach. A blended approach that focuses on the productivity of the low-income class and simultaneous or concurrent political consciousness change. So, for example, we take that low-income class and we unbundle them a little bit more. Then we find that the women who are subsistence traders, and they are in the majority, women in the majority actually are faithful to elections amongst the low-income class. Are you following what I'm saying? Because this is to show you that the research has thought of many of the things that you're saying. So we look at the profile of those women, yes, and then you find that, wait a minute, if we used the power of technology in, say, Lagos, our technology will map and find for us all the women who sell something like bean cake, akara, right? We would find them because we would the system to be able to locate them and to find where they are exists. So you look at the akara seller. What is it about the akara seller that would make the akara seller to still be willing to engage in the transaction of the vote? It is quite likely that the akara seller does not make 500 naira profit a day, despite being in that sun and frying the akara. Are you following my analysis here? So when you then look at the life of the akara woman seller, you're saying, what are the barriers to her productivity that takes her selling akara to another level of income generation? So she may still be in the business of selling akara. But what you want to do is to think of the barriers to her productivity. And for some of those women, the barriers to their productivity will not require you giving them additional money instantly. It is simply what we call in economics information asymmetry. So there is information that they could do with that changes the way that they are procuring the ingredients that they need in order to produce a ball or unit akara. And there is so you look at these different groups and you can tell immediately the kinds of interventions that raise productivity. So we're huge on the matter of the low-income class needing to raise their productivity. Imagine, that you have a group of women who are operating in trading, and we can actually identify what the barriers to achieving scale for them is. To make the kind of, you remember Mikey's presentation, where Mikey talked about so much labor, low productivity. We're going to see the things that bridge that productivity gap. And then you design interventions that you're not even the one doing it. Sort of thinking that it's a hope case, people are poor, what are we in the productive level of income, go to another level of income, and then you are coupling it, that whole raising of their productivity with political or vote literacy, as the case may be. I saw the distinction he was making. You know what will happen? What will happen is that the women are taken to another level of consciousness, and at a level of economic well-being where they cannot negotiate a 1,000 naira handout or a bag of rice or any other thing like that in order to trade away something that they have now discovered is actually the inherent possession of power. Do you get it? So that's in the direction that we're taking it. And then there was something said about, the middle income. The middle income class, our research says that, hey, these ones that are living in this sense of we're fine, we're inoculated from the decline. It's not true, guys. It's not true. Our research shows through the trend analysis of the quality of your life that it has been declining too. And that many of the people in the middle income class, and it's actually lower middle income class, because people get a graduate education or an undergrad education, and then they are able to get some job and they get a tokumbo car. And then they are able to just manage to, 5% of global poverty will be Nigeria in the next decade. Who do you think is going to provide some of that number? Answer me now. The middle class. The middle class. So to assume that you can live in fool's paradise and say this does not concern, the indifference of the middle class is costing the country hugely. The monopoly democracy sustains itself on the abdication and the irresponsibility of the middle class voters. Are you understanding? Yes. So the research puts out a lot in terms of our understanding of that. And then on the school of politics, policy, and governance, there have been a number of questions raised. But one thing that I can say to you is that the model that we are working is a model that is about addressing the gap in the country. It has nothing to do with the political party or, no. What we hope will happen is that by the time you finish receiving the content, and I liked what she said about the content being a certain kind of way of thinking, where you produce ethical politicians that can operate politics at the local government area, that can operate politics at the state, that can operate politics at the center, that could be lawmakers and could be executive office holders. Do you know what we're trying to do? What we're essentially trying to do is we are accelerating the pace of good policies, because we're not just simply saying, because you have not done politics before and now you want to do politics, it makes you a good person for all of us to support. No, we're saying basically that for us to train you, by the time you're trained and you have knowledge of ethical politics, you have knowledge of policy, and you have knowledge of governance systems, I want to vote for you. I want to vote for you to be chairman of my local government, madam, after you've been trained. Because I know that what you carry and the skills that you've been given would completely change the conversation on running a local government as a political leader. So we're going to turn people away from just, I'm a politician, to being able to say, I'm a public leader. A public leader is who we want. And that's why we call that a public leadership production system. It is basically about having a leadership, a public leadership laboratory initiative If we finish training a person and the person decided that, me, I'm going to be a politician in APC or PDP. By the time we finish training you and your mindset is aligned to APC or PDP, it's your choice. Because our business is to do what? Is to train you. What will happen, that I imagine will happen, is that the level of knowledge, the kind of values and skill set that in 6 months you're populated with, would make you make choices of how you organize yourself as a political person, as one who has a desire to do politics at a local level, at a state level, legislative, executive, or national. Does that make it clear? So the choice and freedom is not in any way taken away. But guess what we want? Because of that need for 2 things that I said this morning, scale and speed. I told you to repeat after me then, right? So I need us to repeat it again. Scale and speed. Because what we are in requires that. Itodo talked about the urgency, the urgency of now. I call it the fiercest urgency of now. If you remember the delivery by Andrew, Dr. Nevin, you heard what he said. I had alluded to that in my presentation about what population growth is doing to the continent. And so if you're going to counter that, you're going to have to change your scale and your speed. And my final point concerning the 3 work groups is to say to you that we have taken, I hope we took down your names in your respective groups. Okay, so in a way, what we did was to show to you that we are interested in crowdsourcing knowledge and that this process is going to continue. So I want you to know that there is nothing called just having a conference around this vision. Having a conference was necessary for us to have this interaction. But I am telling you that we're going to prioritize some of the actions that must be delivered on. And you're going to, many times that countries or a people found themselves, the major thing is usually a desire to actually want to get out of the wilderness, right? Because some people are entirely, as Alera and her team called it, learned helplessness and hopelessness, where basically people just sit like the duck, waiting, is it the duck or something taken to the slaughter, the lamb taken to the slaughter. The question is whether we have sufficient number of citizens who are willing to buck that trend, who are willing to say that it does not matter how difficult the prospect may be, but this systemic approach of looking at what citizens can compel to happen in electoral and political change, how we can engage citizens, middle class, low income. Because like the middle class, we're going to reach you with the data that tells you the story of your life. And also show you the data that tells you. And then we flood the political space with people who have a different consciousness of what it means to be public leaders. Do you think that that's a systemic approach? We will do it. And it's a matter of whether you choose. Kayode said, and I don't remember whether it was Kayode or Professor Johan Lambsdorff said it, that this is not a dash. This is a marathon. But the important thing is that we're getting on the start-off line, and nothing is going to keep us back from doing this. The 21st century can be Africa's century. But like my presentation, it's possible, where Africa optimizes the opportunities. It is not funding that is your most important ingredient for development. When you get the sound knowledge that underpins the choices and decisions you make in the everyday leadership of your governance space, it begins to take you to a different gradient of growth. It is not something that is esoteric. We have watched other countries do it, and we're well more than able to do it in this country and to replicate it in all other countries of our continent. I thank you so very much for being an incredible audience. I thank you so very much for just the time that you have spent here today. And my prayer is that this total commitment will be something that we continue to retain, and that as we say goodbye to you after our dinner tonight, there is dinner. So we will give you the information for dinner through our directors of conference. But before they come up, I want Dudu, I want Mary, and I want all the other members of the work study group to please come up here. Please come up here. All the members of the work study group, Dudu, Mary, and I want Khadijat and Osiaman, the rest of you that worked along. And I want you, Janik, to come so that we can just honor these people. Please come, don't hesitate. You know yourselves, the work study group members. Please come. You're a work study group member, just come up. Just come up here. Esther, where are you? Esther Iba. I'm sure by now everybody knows that name, Dudu, because you had to. Okay, what are you doing? I know you're conference director, but Maureen, leave that picture taken. Just come up. Is there any other member of the work study group that is standing out there? Where is Betty Abba? Oh, Betty is here. Where is Sesu?
Royal Highness.
Okay.
His Royal Highness.
Frank, when did you start being a member of the work study group? Okay, you want us to call you Igwe before you come. All right, Igwe. You know, Frank is the regent of his community. Yes, I'm not just joking. He's a real Igwe. Okay, so please, ladies and gentlemen, can you just help me to applaud these Nigerians? Please applaud these Nigerians. Applaud them for the great work that they have done for us. And I'm just going to give you the opportunity to say hello and thank you to our audience.
Yeah, my name is Achike Chude. Obviously, this event today would not have been a success without your participation. So we want to thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, Ngozi Were, I join Achike in thanking all of you, especially those of you that I co-opted to help do some of the work that we did. Thank you.
Kemi Omolewa from the Branch Optimal team. We're happy and honored to be the agency that organized this event. Thank you. Dudu Bakam, thank you all for your support. It's been a pleasure working with you all. Thank you for coming.
And work together for the progress and greatness of Nigeria. Thank you.
And I'm Mary Ikoku. We just want to say a big thanks to all of you for coming. If we had called and cooked all this meal and nobody came to eat them, it would have been a mess. So you made it happen. It's all kudos to you. Thank you for thanking us. We are very happy. Thanks.
Thank you. My name is Alero Ayido Otobo. I was excited this morning and I'm still so excited. I'm thankful to everyone here, but I think the greatest appreciation is for you to come on board and come with us on the journey that truly will transform the Nigeria. And I just want to honor the lady behind me. Yeah, thank you. She has the capacity to drag you into things that you never dreamed of. And I just want to say thank you for co-opting me on this journey. God bless you all.
My name is Sesu Akume. I go from here more inspired and have hope that Nigeria is going to work in my lifetime.
My name is Frank Mweke II, and it's a great privilege to be here. But I think the greater thanks goes to this audience, probably one of the most behaved audience that I've come across in recent times. Just to sit here all day and actively engage is just remarkable. Shows clearly that our minds are in the same places and that we really want genuine change in our country. Thank you so much for coming.
Khadija Bello. I work with the stagecraft team who handle digital communication for the event. We hope you had as much fun as we did. Thank you very much.
My name is Aisha Yesufu. They say if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you're right. I'm so grateful to every one of you here who is still here. And so you're saying to all of us that indeed we can fix the politics of this nation. We can fix governance and we can get to the promised land. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My name is Charles Omole. It's a pleasure to be part of this group. Thank you all for being here. It's going to be a long marathon journey, and we all need to start from somewhere. You know, we need to remember the very popular Eastern proverb, which says that great elders are those that plant trees under whose shade they may never sit. So which means you do the right thing regardless for the purpose of the future generations. And that's what we are starting now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Redney Shunaya. For me, it's like doing nothing has never been an option. You just have to do something. So thank you all for coming and being willing to do something. Thank you.
My name is Maureen Kabik. I want to leave us with this statement. A wise man once said, "Those who say it cannot be done should not interrupt those who say it can." And I leave us with the quote of Martin Luther King, one of my favorite heroes, who once said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort or convenience, but where he stands in times of challenges and controversy. The time has come for us all to join hands and fix the politics of Nigeria. Who says we can't should not interrupt us who are here saying we can." Thank you so much for being a part of this event.
My name is Choma Agwebo. I'm sorry I don't have a quote. I don't have anything fancy. But just to say a big thank you to everyone who came out, to say a big thank you to Madam Obi for always thinking about inclusion. I'm drawing a lot of us really close even when we run. But just say a big thank you to her for the vision for this initiative. As we all know, it's more than critical at this point. So once again, thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Yemi Adamolekun from Enough is Enough Nigeria. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Auntie Obi, for having us. And my thing is just to remind us that Nigeria is definitely worth fighting for. So let's keep at it.
Good evening. My name is Adebola of Red, owners of Statecraft. I heard that we were famous here earlier today. Just a big thank you to all of you. Thank you to my mom, Dr. Obi, who continues to push. To my team, Khadija, Rokiba, Shona, who's been working hard on this. Thank you, all of you. And to remind every one of you that this thing is more powerful than you could imagine. There are over 90 million Nigerians on the internet, all connected to either Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, one platform or the other. You have to ask yourself every day, what have I said to promote Nigeria today, to promote good governance today, to promote integrity or any kind of value today? If you can audit that and realize that you haven't done nothing, then maybe you're standing in the way, like Maureen said. Thank you.
No, you.
All right, I've talked so much today. I don't think I can say anything else other than to say thank you very much. My name is Kaide Akintami. It's great to be here.
Let's go. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are just all going to collectively say thank you to you. But I need my colleague at the Academy, Janet Cross, to receive the thank you of all of us as Nigerians. So shall we clap for the fact that, yes, and we're asking you to take our gratitude to the Academy. So you want to say?
Well, first of all, now finally I have the time for 1 hour speech I prepared. Very serious. Most of you know it's first time in Nigeria. I can just say, wow, what an impression of your country. What an impression of your people. What an engagement. So thank you very much from our side, from the Robert Bosch Stiftung and Robert Bosch Academy, that all of you made that possible, this conference. And really just leaves me to say, it is a pleasure to work with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have these my twin sons who are just incredible in the area of craft. They are in the world of design thinking. And everything that you saw of the designs were done by them as a gift to their mom for the effort that I try to make. They see that mom is not going to stop. So we might as well just... So I want to thank my sons and their younger brother, Chidera, who is just an amazing last child for me. The work that they have done to support me is incredible. What then do I say of my amazing husband, Pastor Chinedu Ezekwesili? You know, if no one believes in me, Pastor Chinedu Ezekwesili totally and absolutely believes in me. And that takes care of all the rest of you. It's like I can wake up and say, Pastor Chinedu Ezekwesili, good morning. The rest of you, go and collect your good morning from wherever you want. That's how much he matters and means to me. And I am praying for all of you, even today, that this Nigeria that we desire so earnestly, it will not elude us. We will not be people that our children and their grandchildren would say, what were you doing? And left this mess for us. They will not spit on our grace, because we will do what is necessary to change this situation. It's a distortion, it's an anomaly, but it can be fixed. So I need you to join us in declaring fix politics. Let's go. 1, 2, fix politics. By the way, thank you very much to the hotel management. Thank you, our friends from the media. My goodness, you guys have been amazing. Social media, our new media, our traditional media, thank you. We really appreciate your work. Thank you to the ushers. Thank you to the people who manned our registration desk, our rapporteurs, all of you. I just need you to know that there is a deep heart of gratitude saying thank you. Who did I miss? Ozioma, yeah, Ozioma was supposed to come up here as work study. Thank you very much, Ozioma, for coordinating the media and all the work that the rest of you. I may have missed out somebody, but guess what? Can you turn to somebody around you and say, on their behalf, I am saying thank you. Thank you. Let us thank the crowd. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Have a great journey back. We will do dinner tonight, but dinner we will not be talking fixed politics. Talk every other thing but fixed politics. Thank you very much. God bless you. Good night.